Ba 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 ba. So, if you are listening on the day that I'm releasing this, then it is Christmas. But hopefully you're not listening and you're spending time with your family and friends. Actually, listening is a good way to spend your Christmas too. I hope this podcast is like a bonus gift under your tree, except it's in your ears. Welcome back to the show, Respectfully Inspired with Aussie Films. I like to start off every episode with my why behind the podcast, which is that I want to inspire you to invest in soul wealth. So not the classic wealth, which is measuring success by money, possessions, achievements, and or status, but soul wealth, which is measuring success by relationships and memories. Today is episode 58, How to Win 2024. Since it is Christmas and we're only a few days out from 2024, I'm going to take what I learned from 2023, which I considered 2023 a huge win for me, and I'm going to apply that into 2024 and tell you how I best believe that you can win 2024. Since it is Christmas, and I am a very strong Christian, which I don't know how I feel about that word Christian, because I think a lot of people tie that word Christian to religion. And I guess I am a member of the religion. I do attend the church and follow the religion. But when I say I'm a very, very strong Christian, what I mean is that I very, very much believe Jesus is God, that he died for my sins, and that I have a relationship with him. So it's much more about Jesus than it is about the religion. And because it's Christmas, this isn't a religious episode or religious podcast, but it's going to start with Jesus because it is Christmas and I want to honor him and honor the season and honor what I believe in. And I think that Jesus is the ultimate win, the ultimate success. So that leads us into our first point of episode 58 solo, How to Win 2024. Our first point. And the first point is that you can win 2024 and still lose life. And you must understand this. So what do I mean by this? And I'll give you an example from my pastor at College Ave Church, Pastor Chris Oken. He was telling a story about how when he was in high school, he won a homecoming king. So he was in high school, he won a homecoming king. And as a result of winning homecoming king, he was a lot more popular at the time. Guys looked up to him. Girls wanted his attention. He built a little bit of an ego, probably walked around with pride, and homecoming king felt like a huge win in that moment for him. Fast forward 10 years later, he's getting married just a few weeks ago. He's getting married. Not a single person from his high school came to his wedding. Homecoming king, not a single person from his high school came to his wedding. How he describes this phenomenon is Monopoly money. So let me explain this to you. In the game of Monopoly, you want to collect all the money and you want all your opponents to go bankrupt. I'm sure you played Monopoly before. Imagine that you're playing, perhaps with your family, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. You're playing Monopoly and your dad wins. Your dad wins the game, everyone else goes bankrupt. And after the game's over, you're upset because you lost Monopoly, and he gathers all the money, all the paper money, and he says, "Here, Ozzy, you can have it all." He gives you the pink $300 bills and the blue $50 bills and the green and white bills, and he's like, after he just won the game, he piles up the money and goes, "Ozzy, you can have this." And you look at him and you're like, "I don't want this anymore. This is trash." The pink $300 bill means nothing in the real world. It only mattered during the game. It's Monopoly money. It's not real money. It only mattered during the game. And so it's like, you don't care about Monopoly money after the game ends because the game is over. In the same way, my pastor, Chris Hilkin, in the moment, in the game of high school, winning homecoming king was a big deal. Winning homecoming king was awesome. But when it came to 10 years later, and the game of high school was over, and he was at his wedding, not a single person came. The Monopoly money of winning homecoming king didn't matter. It meant nothing. So why am I taking all this time to set up this analogy? And the reason for that is that everything in life is monopoly money. If this podcast gets 10 million subscribers, that will be awesome. I might get to interview my quote unquote heroes. I use quotes because Jesus is my only true hero, but I might get to interview every famous person I've ever looked up to. I might get to give my friends awesome gifts and do awesome charity and, provide for my family. And that is a huge win. It might even be a huge win until the day I die, but it's still monopoly money. It still ends with death. And there's moments where, there's times where I've won championships in sports games and they were such a big deal, but I don't think about them anymore. There's times where I lost championships in sports games. It was such a big deal, but I don't think about them anymore. There's so many moments in life where you will have monopoly money. 2024 could be the best year of your life. You could accomplish all your dreams, make more money than you've ever done, could be everything, all your wildest dreams. And if you don't know Jesus, it doesn't matter, because eternal life is real. And even if you had the longest life in the history of Earth ever, which I don't know, but we'll say of people living right now, even if you live 150 years, that is not even a drop of water in the ocean compared to eternity. So as I give self-help advice and as I speak through the rest of this podcast, it's very important that you keep that in mind. Now, there is a Bible verse that I think matters when talking about this. And Chris Hilken also says, you can turn your monopoly money into kingdom currency. So unlike in the actual game of Monopoly, where you can't take the money and turn it into anything valuable outside of the game, in our world, monopoly money, whether that's becoming homecoming king, having a big podcast, making money, you can turn it into kingdom currency. And let me explain. Luke 16:9 says, here's the lesson. Use your earthly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then, when your worldly possessions are gone, they will welcome you to an eternal home. What that means is that we take nothing into our afterlife. We don't take our money, we don't take our house, we don't take our possessions into the afterlife, but friends in Christ, we will take into the afterlife. Let me turn my computer off. So, Luke 16:9, here's a lesson. Use your earthly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then when your worldly possessions are gone, they will welcome you to a keyword eternal home. So if you make friends in Christ and if you build relationships, you will have those relationships for eternity as long as you both believe in Jesus. So that's why even though at some point I might get judged for talking about Jesus on this podcast, at some point, I might face persecution for talking about Jesus on the podcast. That is why that I will always use any podcast success to talk about Jesus. This is not a Christian show. I've elaborated that on multiple occasions. I sometimes talk about Jesus. This is my job. I choose to involve Jesus in it, but it's not a Christian podcast. I don't like to think of it as like a Christian thing I do. I like to think of it, Jesus is a huge part of my life. So it's going to come out in my job. It's going to come out in my working out. It's going to come out in my hobbies. And the reason I talk about Jesus is because the only thing that matters is my following of Jesus and helping others follow Jesus. And then eternally, you can make that monopoly money into kingdom currency. If even one person comes to follow Jesus as a result of this podcast, then I have successfully turned monopoly money into kingdom currency, because you and me will be in heaven together forever, and it's kingdom currency. So I hope that makes sense. Now we will move past, we'll move on from that point, and I'll get more granular. I'm going to get into some self-help. These are the two biggest things that I think will help you win 2024. And the first point is everything is a bonus mentality. So what does that mean? Everything is a bonus mentality. To explain this, you must first understand what a win is. So if you say how to win 2024, the way I define win and you define win and your friends define win is probably all different. Well, I'll give you the most common definitions of win. The most common definitions of win are financial freedom. So having more money, financial freedom, finding a partner like a wife or a husband. I would say those are the two most common definitions of win. The thing with these definitions, those are fine goals. In fact, those are goals that I pursue myself. They're fine. But if they are your definition of win, then there's two issues with that, which is that one, when you get there, then what's a win now? You have to, are you a winner forever once you make good money? Because I don't think so. It doesn't seem that people who make good money are happy forever, endlessly. Are you a winner once you find your wife? I don't think so. More than 50% of marriages end in divorce. Did you win because you found your wife? So it's like, I don't think you should ever define win as like a thing you can achieve. I think winning is a lot more in the way you live. And also, I mean, with the whole soul wealth message, I've probably said it 100 times on the podcast this year. If winning is something you can achieve, then you're never going to get there, because you're going to get there and you're going to pick a next thing and a next thing and a next thing. So I think the lesson here is that you define what a win is. And I think it's much better to define a win as a way of living rather than an achievement or a destination. Now, I pick to measure success by relationships and memories. How do I measure a win? Well, the truth is you can define success however you want. The truth is you can define a win however you want. This is what I think. I think that I'm winning right now. I think, to me, winning, this is a quote from Danny Miranda, who's my podcast mentor. He says, winning is when you enjoy reality exactly as it is. That's how he defines winning. Winning, when you enjoy reality exactly as it is. To me, it is super important that that is my definition of winning, because it leads to our first point to wrap everything around. Everything is a bonus mentality. If me right now making $0 from my job, from this podcast, every hours and hours and hours of work every day for this podcast for months and months and months, 4.5 years on YouTube, and I've never made a single dollar. Just to put that in perspective for you, I've been on YouTube nearly 5 years. I've made, I know for sure, over 300 videos, 100 videos on 3 different channels, but I'm probably closer to 500 videos. I've filmed nearly 60 podcasts, probably made hundreds of hours of content, and I haven't made $1 from it. Not a single dollar, 5 years in. If I can look at that, if I can look at my career of YouTube and podcasting, 5 years, endless hours, and not making a single dollar, if I can look at my relationship life, romantic relationship life, I have no girlfriend right now, no girls I'm pursuing right now. So that's essentially 0 in that category too. And because I got an illness this year, I actually, even though I was going to the gym just as much as I went at any other year, I actually reversed in weight, actually reversed in muscle. So in many, many aspects, I have less money than I had last year at the beginning of the year. I don't have a relationship, which I had last year at the beginning of the year. And I'm physically less fit and less healthy than I am at the beginning of the year. That sounds like a huge loss to 99% of people. You went backwards. But what is backwards? To me, it is not a loss, because I'm enjoying reality more than I've ever enjoyed it. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm more joyful than I've ever been, and I'm more grateful than I've ever been. And it's all because of the mentality of everything in life is a bonus. Winning, enjoying reality exactly as it is. I love this job after 5 years and $0. I love my relationship with myself with no girlfriend. I love my body even when it's not in optimal shape. And because I love these things at their worst, everything is a bonus. When I do get a girlfriend, that's going to be an amazing day. But today is already amazing. When I do make money from this podcast, that's going to be an amazing day. But this podcast is already amazing. When I do have a chiseled, awesome body, that's going to be an amazing day. But I already love my body. Everything in life is a bonus mentality. That is just something that has really, really changed my life. So, first point, just to recap the two things we talk about is one, you can win 2024 and still lose life. If you don't know Jesus, then you've lost anything important, in my opinion. Second point, how to win 2024. Everything in life is a bonus mentality. If you get a girlfriend, that's a bonus. If you make money, that's a bonus. If you have an awesome body, that's a bonus. If you have a house, that's a bonus. Everything is a bonus, but all you need to be winning is enjoying reality exactly as it is. Regardless if you're chilling in a mansion or you're on the streets homeless, enjoying reality exactly as it is. The second point, and this has been absolutely huge in me achieving my goals, in me winning. This has been this thing that's helped me start my podcast, helped me do YouTube for 5 years, helped me hit my fitness goals. This is the biggest thing, that's one of the biggest things that's ever changed my life. And it's extreme and repetitive self-assessment. Let me show you something. For the audio listeners, I'm about to show the camera. I have 6 self-assessment journals. 6 self-assessment. Each of these journals holds months of information. Every single day, I write this. This is not like a free thought journal. This is finding flaws in myself journal. This is a self-criticism journal. Every single day, I start the day writing, I am, I will, I can. So I say, I'm faithful, I'm successful, I'm significant. Today, I will do my weekly check-in and promote solo podcast 26. I will batch post Verts and prepare Luke Meisel podcast. I can go to the chiropractor and gym today. That's just setting the intentions for the day. So every single day for pretty much the past 2 years, I've set the intentions for the day. This is the point. Extreme and repetitive self-assessment, finding flaws in yourself. Every single day for the past 2 years, I ask myself what made me happy. So 2 years of reviewing the things that made me happy. 2 years of, okay, I realize podcasting makes me happier than vlogging. I realize I'm happier on the days I sleep well. I realize I'm happier when I eat well. I realize I'm happier when I spend time with the people I love. I realize I'm happier when I read good books. I realize happiness is not just a shot in the dark for me, because, and that might sound obvious, people might be able to list a few things that make them happy, but like, I have happiness, I don't want to say down to a formula or an algorithm, but I've reviewed it for so long, for so many months, that I understand what makes me happy so well. And this really, really improved my life in all the areas that matter to me, because even as I became a Christian, which was over the last 2 years, it was not just becoming a Christian because, oh, I have to force myself to become a Christian. Oh, this is how I was raised. It was, as I'm becoming a Christian, I'm seeing every single day that that's making me more happy. It's making me more the person I want to be. It's not, oh, I have to force myself to the gym. It's 2 years of information telling me, oh, on the days I go to the gym, I'm happier. So self-criticism in that one box has changed my life. But not only did what I do what made me happy every day, I did what challenged me every day. So I realized I really struggle with the neck pain. I really struggle with neck pain and bad blood flow. So now I'm stretching every single morning. But I only know to do that because for 2 years, I'm asking myself what challenges me. And after 50 times in a row, my neck pain is challenging me. I start going to the chiropractor. I start stretching. after I realized that all the days I overuse Instagram, well, now I have to reapproach Instagram. After I write for 2 years, all the things that challenge me, I'm learning over and over and over again, okay, these things challenge me. I'm thinking about my enemies. I'm thinking about how to best prepare for life. Well, that's not the only category. Every day for the past 2 years, I asked myself, how did I help someone today? And I noticed when I first started reviewing my life, I had this one on my journal. How did I help someone today? And I used to care about that section the least. Sometimes I would not fill it out. If I did fill it out, it was all right, but I never tried to actively fill out how did I help someone today. And after doing this journal for a few months, I realized, hey, the more I'm helping people, the more I feel filled with joy, the more good things keep happening to me. I mean, I know some of you guys call it karma, but I know it's God. And it's funny because it used to be the category I least cared about. How do I help someone today? And now it's the category I most care about. Because after 2 years of research, I realized that when I'm helping people the most is when the most awesome things are happening to me. It's when I feel the best about myself. And it's also helping me with my faith, because faith tells you to help people, and I can prove that it helps me because I'm doing the research. The fourth category that I've reviewed every day for the past 2 years is, what could I have done differently? This is extremely important because a lot of people go through life and they just think things happen to them. Oh, work wasn't fun today. Oh, this person was mean to me today. Oh, people just think things happen to them. And therefore, I mean, I know you've heard it a million times in the self-help world, but therefore they take on a victim mentality. There's me, and then there's the things that happen to me. I wish those things weren't as bad. I wish those things didn't happen to me. But every day for 2 years, I forced myself to say, what could I have done different? I'm just reading this random one from a few months ago, more productive conversations. That day, you know what I probably did? I probably talked a lot about people. There's a self-help quote. Small minds talk about people, medium minds talk about things, great minds talk about ideas. Because I've asked myself for 2 years, what could have I done differently every day? Well, I realized that the quality of my conversations makes a huge difference in how I feel. It makes a huge difference in what I get done. That's why I wrote on this day, more productive conversations. I can just pick out another one. Let's see. Less time on phone. Better focus during tasks. Well, when you're forcing yourself to find flaws in yourself, to ask yourself what you could do different, and every single day, even if you're just writing one thing, you're going to really, really incrementally become better. And I think what makes this task so valuable is not necessarily that you're just writing something down that you could have improved on. I think that's a huge thing that is valuable, but I think what makes it so valuable is that you're training yourself to be someone who finds flaws in yourself. No one will ever care about improving your life as much as you care about it. So if you don't care about it and you just take a victim mentality, or you just act like things happen to you, well, no one's going to come make you care about it. So just writing things down every single day that you can improve is going to train yourself to care about improving. It's going to train yourself to find flaws in yourself, which is opposite to how we're wired. We're wired to just want an excuse. We're wired to just go through life, go through the motions. So that one's been absolutely huge for me. And then the 4 things I review every single day: what made me happy, what challenged me, how did I help someone, what could I have done differently? And then the biggest one, the 5th one, what did I learn about myself? In this one, I said, don't get creatively trapped by routine. I'm very OCD. I'm very big on habits and routines. I mean, I'm literally explaining to you how for 2 years I wrote the same journal entries, not the same journal entries, but I filled out the same journal for 2 years. But I realized in this section, what did I learn about myself? Sometimes when I lean too far into routine, then I'm not as creative. So I literally wrote it down. Be aware of those calling out. On that day, I must have noticed that some people were calling for help or needed attention, and I need to be more aware of that. I've written down, don't be afraid to go somewhere new. So I know I'm just beating my own drum, but look at this. 6 journals. These aren't thought journals. These are literally just review your life journals. And so I did that every day. I definitely miss days, but very few days, maybe less than 10 days per year. I do that every extreme and repetitive self-assessment. Do that every day for 2 years. And that is on a daily basis. But also what I love about these journals, and obviously I have no sponsorship because I just told you I make no money from the podcast. These journals are less than $10 and they're at Walmart, and Walmarts exist everywhere. I don't know if your Walmart has them. I'm assuming all Walmarts have them because every Walmart I've ever been to has them. They're called Pause, Plan, and Reflect. I bought one on a whim one time and I love it. It's still my favorite self-reflection journal, and it's literally in Walmart. And it's a daily journal, but what I really like about it is that at the end of the week, there's a week-long assessment, and you can choose to fill this out as weak or as hard as you want. But look how mine look. Let's see. I fill this out to the brim. So not only, and I realize as I'm saying this, it might sound like a pride thing. So I really hope it doesn't. I'm not saying this to say I'm better than you or that I'm not. I'm just telling you what has helped me, quote unquote, win life. And extreme and repetitive self-assessment has helped me win life. So not only do I do a daily assessment, but I do a weekly assessment right here in this journal. And the things that I review every week are my favorite moments of the week. So that's kind of like a gratitude thing. I'm going over everything awesome that happened to me. I'm remembering the moments. Instead of just fleeting awesome moments, I'm encouraging myself to remember them every week. Biggest learnings of the week. So this is super important. I not only do biggest learnings of the day, but I do biggest learnings of the week. So I come back and look at the things I learned during the week. I think about what happened to me. So not only every single day am I reviewing what I've learned, but every single week I'm reviewing what I've learned. Another part I really like on this journal is it has goals to focus on next week with 3 steps. So the goal for this week was implementing an Instagram hour. What I mean by implementing an Instagram hour is I realized that I'm using Instagram to grow a personal brand, which is super important, but I don't want to be super addicted to Instagram. So what I came up with is an Instagram hour. But what I love about this journal is that it makes you write 3 steps. So one goal to focus on next week, I write implement an Instagram hour. Step 1, pick an hour of the day that you can use Instagram and don't use it outside of that hour. So for me, 4 p.m., I can use Instagram. I think I also wrote a couple other time sections, but 4 p.m. I can use Instagram. Step 2, create Instagram scheduler in Notion. So I go in Notion and I create a place for me to drag my Instagram content, even just content I want to talk about, on my story, so that I don't feel the need to go post it right that second, because I'm trying to build a personal brand. I'm trying to talk a lot on my Instagram stories so that people can relate to me and my thoughts and know me better. But how do I do that on a daily basis without just always going straight from my thought to Instagram story, which is now I can put it in Notion. That's step 2. And step 3, I honestly forgot what step 3 was, but I'm sure it was something along the lines of have exceptions to the rule. So maybe you can only use Instagram during Instagram hour at 4 p.m. But at the end of the day, once you've accomplished everything after gym, you can use it more. So I guess, dude, I should have just titled this episode an extreme dive through my journal. But the reason more than half this episode is about the third point of extreme and repetitive self-assessment is because, and the reason I'm taking you through my journals is to show you, I'm trying to put weight on this point. I'm trying to show you how much this point has affected my life. So every single week every single day I review those 5 things. Every single week I do favorite moments of the week, biggest learnings of the week, one goal to focus on from next week, mementos of the week. Mementos are pretty similar to the learnings, but they're also like things I can do. So like a memento for this week might be email someone every single day, send one cold email every day. That's not like a learning thing. It's someone didn't teach me. Someone actually did teach me to send an email every day, but that was a long time ago. Now it's just like a memento. I want to send an email every single day this week. I want to pray before bed every single day this week. Those are like mementos. And then big ideas for the month. For me, the big ideas of the month are things that I want to be consistent in my life, and they're almost always values, and I write the same ones every single week. On very rare occasions, I'll substitute something in or I'll add something, but because I've run out of space, I'll show you. I fill the entire box. And literally, I could probably close this and recite to you my big ideas for the month, which I kind of use as a values section. So I'll just do it so you can know. Like, when you write something over and over and over again, eventually it gets written on your heart. It stays in your mind. So I know my values because I've written them every week for 2 years, which is always strive to have a better relationship with God, pursue wonder, live life like a child, again, go out of your way to help others and expect nothing, be present, don't use your phone in front of others, make no small plans, keep life surreal, measure success by soul wealth metrics, invest in experiences that you can share with others, create more than you consume, which is huge because we live in a consumption culture. And I've also, from the journal, I've realized that when I create more than I consume, I'm way happier, I'm way more productive. So that was a big one. Practice extreme gratitude, thank God for everything. And I don't know, there's probably like 5 more that I didn't list, but off the top of my head, be extremely excited to see everyone, reach down more than you reach up. What reaching down more than you reach up means is that you are going out of your way to help others get to your level more than you're trying to get other people to pull you up to their level. It's another thing, significance over success, which means caring about helping others more than you're caring about your own career. It's a very Jesus-inspired quote. Find energy and passion at work in quality relationships. That tells me that I will feel better and I will be more productive when I'm around people that give me energy, when I'm doing jobs that give me energy. Always add value in any relationship, in any room. How can I add value? Productive mornings starting with God and sunlight. Listen with your whole body. So when I'm in a conversation, which I do a lot, which is a huge mistake, but it's like, oh, you have something to say? Let me listen to you. Body language. So much self-review. I could talk about self-review for a whole hour, but the point is extreme and repetitive self-review. So I do a daily review through the journal. I do a weekly review through the journal. And in 2024, always trying to add, always trying to improve, and I'm adding a quarterly review. So I'm going to go off screen as I read to you the questions that are going to be in my quarterly review, which are, hold up, I got to find them in my Notion. Quarterly check-in. These are the questions that I'm going to answer in my quarterly review, which are: how can I improve my relationship with God? How can I improve my learning and brain health? How can I improve my relationships? How can I improve my body and fitness? How can I improve my hospitality and community? How can I improve my rest and body health? How can I improve my work and financial life? So 7 questions. In January, quarter 1 of 2024, I'm going to sit down for a few hours and answer each of those questions in depth. And then in quarter 2, 3 months later, April, I'm going to sit down, answer those questions in depth. And then quarter 3, 3 months later in July, I sit down, answer those questions in depth. And then quarter 3, 3 months later, August or September, I don't know if I said those right, quarter 4, I'm going to sit down a few hours and answer those questions in depth. And I think this is so important to note, and a lot of entrepreneurs have to learn this lesson. And I read it in The Ride of a Lifetime. It was written by the Disney CEO, Bob Iger. Or maybe it was Nike. It was either Phil Knight, CEO of Nike, or Bob Iger, CEO of Disney. And they wrote, innovate or die. Innovate or die doesn't always necessarily mean just adapt to the new technology, just adapt to, it does certainly mean that, but how I take innovate or die, I take it to the extreme, which is that so many people learn a way of doing something. Let's take tie your shoes. Some people grew up doing bunny ears the way they tie their shoes. Some people did the other way. I changed the way I tie my shoes because after tying my shoes one way for 12 years, I found a way I like better. And that's like a really weird example, but there's so many things in life where we create routines and systems, and I'm the biggest fan of routines and systems, but we create routines and systems, and because we've done it that way our whole lives, we never question them. We never ask ourselves if they're the most efficient. And most of the time we learn those routines and systems from other people. So you learn, oh, I want to start a podcast. I go look at how other people do their podcasts, and now I know how to do a podcast because I'm repeating their routine. But I'm never going to be more efficient than them or create a better product than them if my routine just looks the same as theirs. So it's the act of questioning your own routines. Do something for a couple months. Ask yourself, am I doing it the best possible way? How could this be better? That's why there's 7 different categories on there. I read the Bible every day and I pray every day, but how could my faith look better? Maybe my faith has just become routine and I don't really have a relationship with God, but I just read my Bible every day and pray every day. Well, now, because I have this quarterly check-in there, now I'm going to really sit down and confront myself with that. Is it just a habit or is it a relationship? Maybe I need to have more conversations that are less scheduled with God. All right, now I'm looking at my body and health. I go to the gym every day and I eat decently every day, but maybe I don't have enough vegetables in my diet. And I should try eating daily vegetables, try buying more vegetables. Okay, what about my rest and my sleep? I'm sleeping all right, but I don't wake up in intervals of 90 minutes. And I just listened to a podcast that said if you wake up with your sleep cycle in sections of 90 minutes, you'll feel less groggy when you wake up. Well, maybe how do I implement that into my sleep? What about my work and financial life? I have a whole system for podcast research, podcast topics, getting guests, emailing people, putting it in Notion. Bro, that's a lot of things. How can I shorten that length of time? How can I optimize my research? I just changed my research paper, and that was before the quarterly check-in. So I don't know if I can emphasize this enough, but it's just extreme and repetitive self-assessment. This has been a long rant of a podcast going on 40 minutes, but how to win 2024. 3 crucial points. The first point is kind of separate from the rest of the podcast. The first point is that you can win 2024 and lose life. It doesn't matter what you accomplish, what you do. If you don't know Jesus, then eternally you lose life, and that's way worse than losing anything on earth. So that's point 1, but it's kind of separate. The point 2, or point 1 of the self-help of just winning 2024 is winning 2024 is everything is a bonus mentality. Winning is enjoying reality exactly as it is. You don't need to be anywhere to quote unquote win. You don't need to get any money to quote unquote win. You don't need to have a successful podcast to quote unquote win. You are winning exactly how you are. And if you are enjoying reality exactly in the position you are in, that's a win, and everything else is a bonus. If I make money from this podcast, that's a bonus. If I get a girlfriend, that's a bonus. If I get my dream house, that's a bonus. Everything is a bonus mentality. And number 2, extreme and repetitive self-assessment. Every single day, how could this day have been better? Every single day, how could I have been better? The point of extreme and repetitive self-assessment is that you find flaws in yourself. You do not. Something in the Bible that is one of the most true things I've ever read is that we hold everyone else to a standard that we don't live up to. We hold everyone else to a standard that we don't live up to. And when you don't self-critique, when you don't have self-assessment, then what you end up doing is creating ridiculously high standards that you judge everyone else for, but you don't live by yourself. And even when you have standards for yourself, like me, I don't want to lie, I don't want to steal, even littler things. I want to be a good listener, I want to make others feel love. You might know your values and know your standards, but if you're not checking yourself constantly, there's no such thing as knowing a value and knowing a standard and then just forever following it. You have to check yourself because you will fall short. 100% of the time, you will fall short of your own standards. And so if you want to be someone who values your own values, who lives up to your own standards, which I don't think is possible to live up to your own standards, but to strive to always live up to your standards, to strive to hold your values, then you have to be someone who critiques yourself. You have to be someone who assesses yourself. Make it a daily habit. You don't have to buy the Pause Plan Reflect Journal, pink journal from Walmart. That's how I prefer to do it. But find a way to critique yourself every day. Find a way to find flaws in yourself and not in others. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Find flaws in yourself, not in others. You can do it in Notion. You can do it in Google Drive. You can do it in a journal. You can do it in Pause Plan Reflect from Walmart. Find a way to critique yourself every way. Not just yourself, not just me and the way I'm living. Find a way to critique your work and your career. Find a way to critique your systems. Find a way to critique your health, your sleep, your body, every aspect of life. I feel that this podcast was a little bit of a rant, but I hope that it was valuable to you in some way. And I just pray, I'm actually going to pray right now, God. So God, I pray that every single person listening to this podcast, that they would find something valuable, and that if there was no takeaways from this, that it would just point them to you, Jesus. You are the ultimate self-help, the ultimate savior, redeemer, the ultimate healer, the ultimate guider. God, if you created the heavens, the earth, and the sky, if you created humans with billions of cells, with brains we don't even understand, an ocean deeper than we've ever been, if you created the moon, the stars, and the sun, then how much better can you write my life than I can write my own? God, I know I can give these people all the self-help advice that's helped me. I know I can share biblical truths, wisdom from Proverbs with them, but God, there is no such thing as writing your own life better than the Creator who created everything can write your life. And the ultimate advice is surrendering to you and your plan, which is always better than ours. So let me be a person who surrenders to your plans. Let the audience be people who surrender to your plans, God. And God, I just pray for these people. I love them. I pray that you'd bless them in ways that I don't even know, because you know their innermost thoughts and I don't. And God, thank you for the opportunity to do the podcast this year, God. God, give me whatever success you want the podcast to look like. God, I surrender it all to you. Amen. I love you all. Enjoy 2024. Please DM me on Instagram, message me, text me. I want to be in your life as much as I can until I can't.